Welcome to CPG Vibes. No scripts,
Just chat.
I'm Alex Baer.
And I'm Wade Yenny.
Each episode is recorded live, and we talk all things food and beverage, and so much more.
Feel our vibe and search for CPG Vibes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and make sure to give us a 5-star review.
If you'd like to sponsor our show with your product or service, email us at cpgvibes100@gmail.com.
Now, let's vibe.
All right, welcome to episode 128 of CPG Vibes. Hope everyone is doing well. That was a very smooth intro. We've sometimes had trouble with the images and splicing things over, but that one really smooth. Wade, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I have a little bit of a cold this week, allergies, something going on, but I'm here and I'm ready and willing and able to figure this thing out. It's been a minute since it's been just you and I, so have to figure if it's like riding a bike, like, take the training wheels off when we have guests, or put them on when we have guests. We got to take them off. So let's not fall down on our faces because we're too pretty for that to happen.
Yes, we're too pretty. That's the story that we got to go with here. And by the way, because it's live and these kind of things happen, your mic cut out and we can hear you through the computer audio. But if you go to settings and go to audio, hit the gear. We're doing some troubleshooting live on the show because there's no script, just chat. Good example of that. Hit the gear icon, go to audio, and then go back to Scarlett, the Focusrite, and you'll be back on your regular mic. And if that doesn't work, then I'm pretty screwed and I'll be on the show by myself. But we'll see what happens. Right while you're figuring that out, I'm going to go through our just our laundry list items. Wait,
Better?
Not really, but keep on trying. All right, audio settings here. So number one, make sure if you'd like to reach out to us for sponsorship or block rates, you can email cpgvibes100@gmail.com. Sponsorships are filling up. We're booked up until, at this point, almost late November. So if you'd like to get on the docket for 2025, make sure to reach out to us and we can oblige. We have opening intro deals, $350 for one episode and $13.50 for 3 episodes. It's good to have a few episodes so you can get some repetition in front of our audience. We reach people both on LinkedIn and also through Apple Podcast and Spotify. And that reminds us, help us keep the number one spot. Make sure to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcast. It takes way shorter time than the time it takes Wade to figure out his mic situation. Takes literally about, I got a smirk from him.
It sounds like it's working to me. I think so.
How's that? Now it's working. See, doesn't Wade's voice just sound so much more beautiful? We're picking up everything, whether it's phlegm, whether it's a pop, anything. We're getting it all now from your voice. So going back to it, make sure to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcast or Spotify. We have a Slack channel, which is cpgvibes.slack.com. And we have 2 ongoing sponsors, and it's pretty big news, Wade. It's pretty big news, and this is someone that you go way back with, Barton over at My Way 3PL. Chase. And Chase is, basically, he's like the main go-to guy when it comes to My Way 3PL. Knows his stuff, been in the business forever. And we'll talk about them and who they are and the benefits that they offer for small, medium-sized, and large businesses and CPG. They really focus on CPG. But before that, Wade, I want to hear the story of how you got to know Barton and Chase at My Way, because this is your connection and not mine.
Yeah. So Barton and I worked together while I was at Rouse's in Louisiana, and just solid core of the earth people, just really good guy. And it's something I talk about frequently on LinkedIn and otherwise, is just how important relationships are in this business. And Barton is one of those people that for me it was a professional relationship. It remains a personal relationship, and it's one of those, you travel and you make changes in your life, and through all the changes I've made, I've kept in touch with Barton, and I'm just really honored and blessed to call him a friend And even more so now with him, partnering with the show and Chase Russell, his right hand man as far as My Way 3PL goes. He's the guy running the show. Barton's just behind the scenes in this venture. Chase is the guy that is the mastermind behind this 3PL, and I'm excited for the sponsorship here because of the potential savings that they can pass on to brands. And it's not just about sponsoring our show. It's legitimately, I think you know this, and I think I talked a little bit about it on the show, but I visited their facility back in, I want to say May. Renee and I flew down, spent some time with Barton, which, I'll do that any day of the week, let alone to tour his facility. But we got to go down there, see firsthand what he and Chase are building and have built, I should say, and just watch their team in action and just the care and whatnot that they put into their orders. And I saw the whole process. And I think it kind of goes back to when you and I, when we have partners, when we talk about V Driven and Luke Abbott, where I'm at now, and we talk about Range Me. And Joe Tarnowski's in the chat. I see that. But My Way 3PL, we aren't going to recommend people that we don't truly believe in. And when we talk about good people, they don't get any better than Barton and Chase. So, but yeah, our history goes back to Rouse's in Louisiana, and our history continues and will continue moving forward. And just blessed for them to be part of the show.
Absolutely. Very, very well said. And, just to kind of rehash it, right? Wade has known, Barton and also Chase, but, met Barton way back, right? In his Rouse's day, which was how many years ago? 15 years ago?
Oh, no. Rouse's was after Ohio. So it was just, 5-6 years ago.
5-6 years ago, even more recent.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
we like to, like anyone should, vet our sponsors, vet our partners to make sure they're good people, honest people, and that they're going to do right by the brands that find out about them through this episode and go to them for their services. And they are just, they're on just a level above top-notch people that you can trust. And then, as Wade mentioned, he went to their facility. I mean, he researched, went to their facility, saw their operations, saw how they're moving pallets and organizing and how their business is being run. And it really impressed Wade to the point where we really considered we should really have them as sponsors. And then they reached out to us and said, hey, we'd love to be ongoing sponsors and take it up an even further notch. So,
well, and the thing I was going to say, the thing with that, Alex, is not just it is the sponsorship, but not just that, the fact that they can help our community, right?
Yes.
I mean, the people that we cater to, the emerging brands, founders, people already in the space. I'd encourage you to reach out, and we're going to talk a little bit more about them now in the weeks to come, but just to have a conversation, because they can legitimately save you money on your 3PL.
100%. So on that note, so we're going to go through who they are and what they're about here. So let's go into more of a summary mode here. So My Way 3PL. Are you an emerging CPG brand struggling with finding affordable warehousing and e-commerce services for your pallets of products? And are other 3PL services requiring large volumes and charging high rates? My Way 3PL is built to work with small, whether you're doing your first pallet, your first run, or you're scaling to 100 million and, $500 million, anywhere in between. They will work with you and give you great rates, fair rates, and help you scale from a very early stage, or help you grow from a medium stage to a very large stage. So you're shipping, or if you're shipping or storing your first single pallet to freighting and storing multiple truckloads, they are your solution at all growth stages. They have 13 distribution centers, 13 for ambient storage. It's ambient across the country, from Southern California to Texas to the Midwest and many more regions. Their logistics solutions were born from seeing all the pain points. I think that's important, Wade. We'll get into that after I finish this. Pain points of CPG brands, that what they're going through with logistics providers. They have a solid foundation of proven results in cost savings and operational enhancement. And they offer a true balance of both strategy and execution. Partner with My Way 3PL to streamline your logistics and scale from small to large, or even large to larger. Go to myway3pl.com. There is a landing page which will be up, but for now, just My Way, MYWAY, the number 3, PL, P as in Peter, L as in logistics.com. And then soon enough, myway3pl.com/CPG vibes will be up. So keep checking back for that link. And they will, and make sure to mention CPG vibes, and you will get a discount where you get your first pallet for 1 month free at their vast selection of distribution centers across the US. So I got to emphasize again, they're getting a extra love on the first episode, right? As our ongoing sponsor, we're spending some extra time on them. You could be so small with one pallet of a shelf stable product, and they will work with you. They will bend over backwards because they know you can grow to be someone bigger, right? So that's why they love working with early stage brands and companies and founders. They love founders. So make sure to reach out to them, myway3pl.com.
And if you're with us here live in the chat, I linked both Barton and Chase there on LinkedIn, so you can see their profiles and connect with them if you haven't already. And I'd encourage you to do that and just give them some love and let them know we sent you their way.
Cool. And bear with us, because we have, I know we took a little longer on our first sponsor, given this is the first episode they were sponsoring, effective in August of 2024. Our other sponsor, very valued sponsor, we love these guys and gals, is Range Me, and they're the smartest way to get your brand in front of thousands, not 8,000, thousands of retailers. Experience always on-brand exposure, exclusive buyer discovery opportunities, and access to proprietary insights, research, and resources. With over 15,000 buyers, Range Me ensures continuous exposure to retail buyers from top retailers like Target, Albertsons, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Publix, Kroger, Costco, Wegmans, H-E-B, Food Line, Giant Foods, Fresh Market, and many, many, many more. But that's not all. Range Me combined with ECRM category sessions, Joe Tarnowski, deliver exclusive live in-person events where you can meet directly with leading national and regional retail buyers for curated face-to-face meetings. Ready to elevate your brand? Visit rangeme.com/CPG vibes to explore membership options and save up to 30%. Act now and secure the premium membership for $9.99. Usually it's $13.99, or the pro $16.99 if you mention CPG vibes versus $24.99. rangeme.com/CPG vibes. And then last, and again, thanks for bearing with us, folks. We're going to get into our topics today, and there's going to be a $150 prize as well from our third sponsor for this episode, which is our premier sponsor for this episode, which is Cognizant and Amuse. And the episode is being powered by them. Cognizant is an industry-leading nootropic, which is becoming very hot. I know, Wade, you're on nootropics all the time, which is why you're so damn smart, man. So, and why I'm very sharp. That we got to run the show on something. We're running it on nootropics, like Cognizant, or else we would be fading by the middle of this episode. It wouldn't look pretty. So Cognizant keeps you in the game. It's a gold standard for focus, mental energy, and comprehensive brain health in your functional foods and beverages. Give your customers the best ingredient for brain health with Cognizant. Learn more at cognizant.com. So if you're a beverage manufacturer, a food manufacturer, and you'd like to include Cognizant to boost your product and give more benefits to your customers, cognizant.com. So thank you. And Karen Todd will be joining us later today. I'm going to get the oxygen mask. Got some oxygen. Now we can go into talking about all things CPG. Wade,
well
I'm gonna leave it to you.
Well done. Yeah. Well, let me go on a soliloquy here for the next 5 minutes while Alex recuperates and gets his oxygen. But and not to go back into sponsors, but I would say about Range Me too, something obviously there's that connection to your retail buyers and whatnot. But guess what else you can do there, Alex? You can connect with people like me and V-Driven there. You can go there to their we're listed there. You can reach out and schedule a call with me. I've had that happen. I want to say at least once or twice this week. So they're just a whole way for connections in the community that can happen through Range Me. So that's great stuff. So you got your breath?
Got it back. All right. So we're going to be talking about a couple things today, even though it's usually no script, just chat. And again, thank you everyone for listening and being here and being present. $150 prize at the end of this episode from Cognizant. Bunch of cool stuff and products. Make sure to stay on for the entire episode to have a shot at winning that huge prize. So there's two things we're going to talk about. There's Newtopia Now, which is coming up at the end of August, this month. Mm-hmm. And then we also have just common pitfalls and CPG. And these are things that I know with V-Driven way that you're covering a lot more now with brands that you're consulting. But I'd like to start with Newtopia Now and what the predictions are for the show. So for those that don't know, which is very few people, most do know, that there's Expo West and Expo East. Those are the two biggest shows, right? There's Fancy Foods and other shows, right? But and no shade to them. But Expo West is the World Series, right? Or the
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl. Expo East was kind of a maybe a conference semifinals back in the
Yeah,
day. It wasn't as
that's
big
fair.
as Expo West, but still a very important show to go to. They decided strategically to stop Expo East. Last year was the last show. And then now this year they're doing Newtopia Now, which is different from Expo East, and I think more curated and more specialized. So Wade, I know you've read up on how they're going to kind of change it a little bit, make it a little more geared towards brands to really connect with buyers. But I want to start with you on what are your predictions for the show? How do you think it's going to go? Given that it is the first year, right? It's their debut of this.
Well, I'm not Nostradamus, contrary to popular belief. But what I would say is, it's interesting. I think the tide is starting to turn a little bit. I think if you went back maybe 6 8 weeks ago, there's a lot of mixed sentiments as far as what things would be like. First of all, no one knows, right? This is the first show. It is, as you said, to replace Expo East. It's in Denver, different time, different location, different format, all those things. So there's a lot of I would call hesitancy and just some back and forth. I saw a lot of commentary on LinkedIn about that. But what I would say now is what I'm seeing and feeling with the connections I have, as well as just general conversations. Things are starting to heat up a little bit. It sounds like there's going to be a pretty good turnout. I can tell you, V Driven will be represented there. I know for sure Luke Abbott's going to be there. I'm not certain yet if I'm going to be there. I'm kind of working through travel and different things on my end, but we'll be represented. Above everything else is simply because we need to be, right. It's an important event in the natural community. We are absolutely passionate about being in that space, and it's important for us to be there. And I think the key thing there is, we've talked about so many times over, but we'll just reiterate here for anyone new or just joining, is if you're a brand, obviously there's an investment piece there, right? And the question is that investment worth it? And I think from my perspective, if you're uncertain if you should exhibit there and pay for the fees and whatnot, I think if nothing else, even if you can just pay to walk the show and see for the future, what it will be like, as far as, does it make sense for your brand next year? Maybe you don't go all in this year, but maybe next year you have a better idea of how the shows ran, who's there, what value you get out of it, and whatnot. And I could see in the chat already that Kenny's going to be there. So if for no other reason, if you want to see Kenny Hausman and the team at Fresh Time, I would suggest going. But I know on the research I've done, Alex, it looks like the retailers, is going to be a decent amount of retailers there. And of course, the ones at the top of the hit list, they're all going to be there. The meetings Kenny's referencing, the curated meetings and connections, they've got a good selection of speakers that are participating. The events, the after hours events, after parties, whatever you want to call them, it looks like those are pretty solid as well. So I think it's going to be a good show. I really do. How do you feel?
Like you said, we don't have a crystal ball here. We really we don't know, but I feel that it's very valuable to especially attend the first year, if not many years, but especially the first year, because there's a lot of excitement and momentum around it. Because it's going to replace another major convention. It's going to be in a new city, arguably a city that I feel strongly is a great kind of hotbed for natural products. Denver, right near, not too far from Boulder, right, which created some of the best brands on shelf across the country, especially natural brands, Celestial Seasonings, Justin's, and it goes on, Bobo's, and you name it. So I think for all those reasons, it's worth going. And just to see who else is there. And I do like the curated format. I like how brands do not need to sift through tons of service providers. They're really structuring this where there's still service providers, but there's going to be more tight regulations around just pitching every single booth. How closely are they able to, can they control that? Who knows? But you're there to grow your business. You're there to grow sales. You're there to connect with buyers. If you're a brand paying 8, 10, 15K for a booth, right? Or whatever that cost is. And the fact that they curate it, they set things up for you, they coordinate it. So you're getting guaranteed, or as close to guaranteed as you can, FaceTime with a buyer, I think goes a long way and increases the chance of a brand getting their return on investment. And then, like you said, Wade, I agree. Walking the floor, networking, because if buyers are there, they're walking the floor. And if there's curated meetings, they're going to be going up to the booths more, right? Because they're, they know it's going to be their time to talk with the brand, or if they go to another room to talk. So I think there's opportunities there. If you're really new and you have your product in a backpack or a cooler, which that's what I did in 2014 with Genius Juice, and you're going to run into buyers. So the more you can put yourself out there, if you're paying $1,000 for a ticket, to me, right, it's well worth it, because you never know who you're going to run into. And if you're a really new brand, you get valuable feedback. They're going to run into V-Driven there, right? Anyone
Right.
who goes, they're going to run into buyers, they're going to run into key decision makers. And even if they don't give you the time for a proper presentation, you can at least get their feedback. What do you think of the
Right.
packaging? What do you think of the formula? And to get that initial feedback in person and see how they react when they try your product, hopefully they don't spit it out or something, you get really great, accurate feedback to improve your product and make you more successful. So, long story short, kind of a long-winded answer to say, $1,000 is a small price to pay to go there and walk the floor. And if you're a brand and looking to grow and being aggressive, if it's curated meetings and it goes the way they say it's going to go, where you get guaranteed access to these buyers, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, the bottom line is, and you summed it up very well, that it's an investment, right, in your business, and maybe you're not walking away with placement in 400 Sprout stores, but if you have an opportunity to network with like-minded founders, or just network with buyers, or just other people in the space, that can be invaluable. Whether it's whether it pays dividends at the show or 6 months down the road, if you made a connection there, I think it's time well spent. And a couple comments I wanted to say here is the LinkedIn user that shows up on our screen is Sarah Delaney. And she's with Cirilla, and she says she can't figure out how it replaces Expo East since it's in the West. We're hungry here on the East Coast, and I can appreciate that, Sarah, because I'm right up the road from you. Kenny says he doesn't think it's going to replace Expo East. Rather, it's a complementary event to Expo West. I think that's a good outlook to have. It's very good mindset to have. And remember, when this was originally scheduled, most people know, maybe they don't, that it was supposed to be in Savannah, Georgia, but then logistics with the event location, the facility location, I should say, prohibited from happening in Savannah. So that's when it was relocated to Denver. So we would have actually had it on the East Coast. And I don't know if they've announced what future plans are outside of this year, if their intent is to get it over here on the East next year or not. I don't know. Alex, have you seen anything as far as that goes?
Getting it on the East Coast? No,
have they announced anything for
the
next
next
year?
one? I didn't see any announcements. I was multitasking, which I'm terrible at. But I didn't see any announcements, but I think this was maybe at the time they weren't seeing it as a major issue, because this is before all the heat waves happened and having like the hottest weather in many, 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 many years. But Savannah, Georgia, right? Savannah, Georgia, in the summer, in August, even if it's an air-conditioned building, but you're going outside, you have to walk in there, from the outside, from the parking garage. It's going to be hot as freaking hell. And
it's
so
93 here today in beautiful North Carolina. So it's warm.
Yeah.
It's very warm.
And August gets hotter, and this is in the South. It gets very muggy, very humid. So it's probably, Denver, a higher elevation, not as hot, not as humid. Probably a blessing in disguise to have it there. Will it be moved to the East Coast? Who knows? I think they want to see how it goes. They want to get feedback. And then from there, they can position it in different ways. They can change the format of the show, or they can double down on what's working and get rid of what's not working. They're going to learn a lot from this first show and collect a lot of data. But of course, part of that data is, do people want to travel out to Denver from the East Coast? Would they rather have it in the Midwest or something like that, or Georgia, even in the summer? So these are all things that they'll find out after the fact.
Well, like anything else, this show is going to be, and I think Kenny said it very well. I'm on a Kenny kick here today, because he and I played a little.
He's all over the comments.
He and I played a little bit this morning. He called me Yoda, and I said, "Well, if I'm Yoda, that makes him Baby Yoda, because he's younger and he has more hair and isn't as heavy as I am." But it's the first event, so we have the opportunity as a community to shape it. And I think, like anything else, whether it's personal life, LinkedIn, You get what you give, right? If you put yourself out there, you go to this show, you connect, you attend some of these events, you attend some of the seminars, some of the sessions, you're going to get more out of it. And these shows, these truly the shows that are well attended. When we talk about Expo West, you talk about fancy food, you talk to some of these larger events. If you go and you're hiding in a corner, or you're not putting yourself out and trying to make the most of your time with the networking, you really are missing the boat. You probably need to think about that investment that you're making, because and Alex, your experience, I think you mentioned the first time you were there, 10 years ago at Expo West. Think of the connections you've made over the years, and you don't get that by not attending, or by just kind of standing against the wall waiting for somebody to ask you to dance. You've got to get out there. You've got to put yourself, and you've got to make those connections. I mean, it's again, it's sales, right? I mean, you gotta knock on doors. You've got to get over your shyness, or whatever hesitations you have, and initiate conversations, and attend events, and make the most of the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, echoing that note, which is so well said. And folks, Wade's a little bit under the weather, and he can't even tell. I mean, he is just on fire right now. So there you go. It's that cognizant.
There you go.
Our brains are working at a whole other level right now. But when I went to Expo West, I'll tell you a little story. I went to Expo West 2014, as you said. First time, it was March 2014. I created the formulas with my co-founder and a formulator in December 2013, January 2014. So I had a cooler of of the bottles, right? With no label, right? Not empty. A cooler of the bottles with 6 different flavors, including the original. And I was just walking around the floor, and I went to Hall E, right? The basement. And this is before there was North Hall, right? So basement was the place to be for natural new products. And I ran into a gentleman named Sean Sugarman. I don't know if you've heard of this guy or not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, obviously from his name, he sounds like he's in the juice industry, right? So he was the president. He worked with Coca-Cola for many years, but he was the president of Udwala, and he was the CEO of Evolution Fresh. So he's like one of the most impactful individuals that a lot of people just may have not heard of, because he's not out there. He doesn't do podcasts. He's not on LinkedIn. He's very kind of a private person. I ran into him. And at that time, he just sold Evolution Fresh, right, to Starbucks. And he became an advisor, right? He just wanted to be a consultant. And I showed him the bottles, and he said, "You got something special here with the coconut water and meat. I love this product. It's delicious. I love how you're going into high-end smoothies. This is really going to be the future of this category for the next 5 or 6 years," which is exactly true, because look at Koya, look at Rebel, look at Remedy. They all came out in 15, 16, 17 and started blowing up, right? And we kind of rode that wave as well. But I hired him for not a high price, because he really loved the product and he wanted to give me a break. He helped me come up with the Genius Head. With a Genius Head that goes on all of our packaging for Genius Juice. He introduced me to BevNet. I met John Craven at my first show. He introduced me to Jim Tonkin, who was an early investor in Zico.
The Tonkinator.
The Tonkinator. And we've had him on this show. And he's commented on here. And he became the chairman of our advisory board. And he brought me to many investors, gave me many opportunities, and a lot of great advice. And there was many more connections I made that year. Justin Prochnow, for my FDA label attorney guy, who's the best. And he's in Denver. Like, I ran into him at Expo West. So anyway, long story long, because this is a long story. I made those valuable connections, which shaped the present and the future of Genius Juice for years to come, and really helped us in our long-term success for many, many years, and helped us get to millions in revenue. And that was all from showing up. So there you go.
Geez, Alex, the more I listen to that, that's a fantastic story, by the way. And I feel like New Hope should be sponsoring us, or they should be, flying us. They should be flying us there to do a podcast from the event. So if you need my number, New Hope, we're listening, right? Reach out.
Cheers.
But
I love it.
Yeah, right. I mean, but yeah, you're exactly right. It's and Kenny, I left this up on the screen for a reason, that he exactly right. I always approach these events with the mindset you get out of it what you put into them. So just fantastic stuff. So good
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. A lot of call outs there, a lot of shout outs, and between BevNet, the Tonkinator, and Newtopia, we should be getting a flurry of new sponsorships, right?
I love
Um,
it.
so the second subject, anything else to add on Newtopia before we pivot to our other subject?
I don't think so. Let's go.
Okay, I think we covered it all, right? So Pitfalls and CPG, and by the way, in about 10 minutes or so, we're bringing on our sponsor, right? And I want to actually, let's do a little pause here. And when it's live, sometimes we forget the orders, but now we're remembering because of Cognizant. So ongoing sponsors, we have Range Me and also MyWay 3PL. Make sure to go to myway3pl.com, and they help emerging CPG brands that are struggling to find affordable warehousing and e-commerce services for your pallets of product. They work with a brand that's tiny that has your first pallet. And by the way, they have a deal when you mention CPG Vibes, your first pallet in your first month is free, absolutely free. And they really were, their logistics solutions were born from seeing all the pain points that CPG brands are going through every day. So that's myway3pl.com. Second is rangeme.com/CPG Vibes. They help you get in front of 15,000 buyers online to help pitch your product. And then by mentioning CPG Vibes, you save up to 30% on your premium or pro memberships. Make sure to reach out and fill out the form, rangeme.com/CPG Vibes. And then we have our sponsor for this week, which is Cognizant, and they're sponsoring a few episodes. So Cognizant and Amuse. And like we said, Cognizant helps you with focus, clarity, helps you stay on your game. And by the way, it's like odorless and tasteless. I mean, you can drop it into your formula. You won't even know it's there from a taste standpoint, but you will know it's there from a mental cognitive standpoint. I like that. They should use that. All right. So going back into it. So going to common pitfalls in CPG. We've talked about this a lot before, but I think we both felt compelled way to kind of refloat the boat and talk about some of the challenges. Now that you're with V Driven, right, and working with, Sir Luke Abbott over there, what has he been harping on with you when you're meeting with brands, working with brands on things to advise them on to help them avoid pitfalls and be successful?
I think really it's I spoke openly about my decision to join Luke and the team and why I did that, and I think a large part of that, just to kind of refresh or back up, if you will, is simply that we don't have a one size fits all approach, right? We're going to meet you where you are, and I think as we've talked about, as investment money is tightened up, as things have just got even more difficult than they already were, which they're exactly they're very, very, very tough, right? I mean, it's tough, this firsthand. But I think is to be kind, and to listen to what our brands or potential clients are concerned with, what their challenges are, and how can we help them. We've talked so many times about V Driven over the years. Now we could say that we've been on the show more than 2 years, about being somewhat like a Swiss Army knife with different tools, whether it's accounting services, whether it's deduction management, whether it's consulting. And I think to answer your question, I think when you look at advising and what to work with brands on is simply listen first and foremost what their concerns are, and then what do we have first, or is it a fit with what we do, and secondly, what area can we help them the most in, and whether that's a initial consultation just to talk about strategy. And let's be honest, not every idea is a good idea, and so many times you come up with this idea, this hypothesis, and you think it's going to be great because you've been selling at the farmers market and your neighbors and family and friends have told you that it's fantastic, but you really haven't got that constructive feedback from someone that isn't attached to you or maybe outside your comfort zone. And I think that's one of the services and one of the ideas and things that we do so well up front is to dive into that what their hypothesis, what their idea is, and kind of dissect it from there, and their brand strategy and what their go to market is, and then kind of try and level set those expectations that you don't start off with an idea at a farmer's market, or just something that you've found a co-packer and you're making something that you can get into a national retailer overnight. right? It takes a lot of time, it takes a pile of money, and it takes a lot of hard work to get there. And really, a lot of what we do is really making sure that our people know, or our clients know that, and that they're prepared for that, because it's anything but a sprint, right? And it's long, it's hard, and it takes a while. So, Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, and you can hear me okay, right? Just with the mic. Okay, awesome. I think Kenny said mic dropped, Alex. I wasn't sure if that's a metaphoric thing for dropping the mic, or if I
Yeah,
can't be
your
heard.
statement was so profound that you can just drop the mic and walk, right?
That's what I
Get with the
thought.
you got to get with the cool kids. Kenny's a cool kid. That's what I said. He's Baby Yoda, right?
Baby Yoda.
yeah,
Got
exactly.
got to hang out with him at Newtopia for sure. Um, you know, I was listening to a podcast yesterday. It was, across the aisle, right? Taste Radio, and they interviewed the founder. He's called a founder, but he really picked it up when they were in financial trouble, of Lesser Evil. Lesser Evil is growing 50% year over year, for the last 3 years, or even more, and they're innovating a bunch of new things. They have their own facility, and they have their own facility. They're opening up a second facility. And in that interview, he talked about how he was able to see ahead and avoid a lot of the mistakes other brands make when it comes to focusing on what works, right? Distribution strategy, where they started out in natural. And he's been running this brand. Let me back up. Let me ask you, how long do you think he's been running the brand for, Lesser Evil? Just based on seeing it in the market and seeing it pop up.
Hmm.
Wild guess.
I'm thinking. I'm going to say 6 years.
14 years.
Wow.
14 years. And they probably were something else before, maybe a different product or something. And they didn't have the puffs and all the things we love today, but the name was there, and maybe one or two, maybe the popcorn was there. I didn't do a history check on them, but it took years he took his time. Like you said, it's a marathon, not a sprint, to get the margins right, to get their facility up and running. Not to say you have to have your own facility, but that's what they decided to do based on their product and their strategy. And they slowly just released it and got feedback. And then once they locked it in and they knew they had a hit, they scaled it much more quickly in the last like 4 or 5 years. So this is an industry where you cannot rush it. And if you do rush it, you're going to be burning through capital and making tremendous amounts of mistakes. And maybe, 5 years ago, you can make a few mistakes, burn through some capital, learn from that, and raise more. But in this environment, you can't really afford to make mistakes if you're a smaller, medium-sized brand. If you're a huge brand, you can make a mistake or two and recover. Small brand, it could be fatal if you make a mistake. So with all that said, take your time, do it right, reiterate the product, listen to the customer. Listen to the customer, because that's all that matters. It's not what you think, it's what the customer thinks. Of course, it matters what the founder does and their vision, but at the end of the day, they're buying the product and they're voting with their pocketbook. So take your time.
Well, and I think that's well said. And I think also it's be humble, accept criticism.
Yes.
Again, I keep using that family, friends, neighbors mindset, as far as that's not your long-term customer, right? You have to think. And so when you start getting out there and you get that feedback, those first couple of feedbacks, sometimes it hurts. I say time and time again, no one likes being told that their kid's ugly. No one likes being told their kid's not the star quarterback or isn't going to play in the game. But sometimes your product needs work. Maybe it's removing ingredient, maybe it's adding ingredient, more flavoring, changing packaging, whatever the case is. Don't go into this journey with the mindset that you're 100% ready to go and that you're just going to be at the top of spins overnight. You have to be ready for the feedback from people like Kenny Hausman, people, buyers out there from, they've been doing this for a while. I'd like to throw myself in there, and even though I've jumped the ship, but you have to be ready to hear things that probably are going to, not necessarily hurt your feelings, but maybe your pride a little bit. And with this industry, this community, this space that we're in is one of the most giving and caring that's out there. People want to see you succeed. No one is out here rooting for people to fail. And so when you hear things that maybe you don't want to hear, take them to heart, listen, and maybe just really analyze where you're at and what people are telling you. And don't be bullheaded, be humble, and keep plowing ahead.
Exactly. Very well said. And, and we've said it before on the show that less is more. So start with I like 3 SKUs, right? It's arguable in how many you start with, excuse me, when you launch. But, starting with 1 is very hard because it disappears on shelf. And I know that from personal experience by having just the original coconut smoothie for 3 years and breaking 1 million in sales with 1 SKU. But having 5 SKUs or 6 or 7 is also tremendously difficult because you're going to lose money on the dogs that don't succeed, and it's hard to lose money when it's detrimental to lose money when you're a young brand. So start with the right number of SKUs, get feedback, look at data, everything that Wade said very beautifully, and just and then Nick talked about this a couple episodes ago when you were out traveling, right? I think you were in Houston for the retreat, and that know your margins going in as well. I mean, so many people, and he uploaded that tool. Do you see that margin tool that
Right.
people can use? It's a shared Google file that's so stupidly simple. It may not be in extreme detail, but it covers 95% of what you want to know and expect from making a product, releasing the product, selling the product, and having proper margin. And so, so many people still make mistakes, entrepreneurs, by not having proper margin out the gate, and they think they're going to make up for it in scale. And that's a mistake that you cannot repeat. You have to do it the right way out the gate, have strong margins out the gate.
And I saw Nick's calculator when I was catching up on the or his sheet, I should say, when I was catching up on the show after I was traveling. It was Dallas, by the way, but close enough to Houston.
Close
But
enough.
we do something very similar with every one of our clients. We have an ROI, what we call an ROI calculator, and we spell it out exactly what an investment, or rather what a distribution in a retailer, whether it's 2 stores or 400, is going to look like, what it's going to cost you, so you're prepared, so you understand exactly what's going to happen with the free fills, with the cost of goods, with the distributor markups, with retailer, everything. And it's something that is just so beneficial to go over.
100%. All right. So we're running a few minutes behind here, but again, we have a major prize that's going to be given out at the end of this episode. So stay tuned, stay on. Don't switch that dial, I guess is the old school way of saying it. But our sponsor for this episode is Cognizant and Amuse, part of the same company. And we're going to bring on Karen Todd, who's been with the company for a while. She knows anything and everything about this product, about their mission. And I just actually met her in person when she was out here on a ingredient conference. So that was cool to see her in person in Palos Verdes. So a little bit about our sponsor. Cognizant is about finding your focus. Find your focus is their tagline. It's an industry-leading nootropic for work, exercise, gaming, or just every day, right? In the stresses of being at your best every day. Cognizant is the gold standard for focus, mental energy, and comprehensive brain health in your functional foods and beverages. Give your customers the best ingredient for brain health with Cognizant. Learn more at cognizant.com. And I want to hear more about Amuse. I don't have a blurb here, but Karen can tell us more. But let's bring her on. Karen Todd with Cognizant and Amuse. How are you doing?
Doing
Good to see
great.
you,
Thanks
Karen.
for having me. Absolutely.
Welcome.
Great to see you.
Welcome.
Cool. So tell us about yourself, and then about the company and anything else you'd like to share. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I enjoyed hearing about knowing your customer and listening to your customer's needs, because that's exactly what we do at Kiowa. I've been with Kiowa for over 20 years now. I've been in the industry for over 30. I'm a registered dietitian. I head up global brand marketing for Kiowa Hako. And Kiowa Hako is a company that is owned by Kirin Holdings in Japan, outside of the U.S. in Japan, but a global company that really focuses on CPG products, particularly beverage products, pharmaceutical, and then our side of the business is kind of in the middle of that, where we provide ingredient solutions that can go into various products. You've been talking about Cognizant. That's our acetylcholine product, the gold standard for mental alertness and focus. And the other product that was top of mind was Amuse, and that's a Lactococcus lactis, a heat-killed probiotic that's very, very easy to use. And a lot of beverages, food products, all of them are extremely stable. And part of what I like to do is bring solutions, not just products and ingredients, but how can we help? How can we meet the needs of the customer and ultimately the consumer out there? So appreciate having me on, and look forward to the conversation.
I will. I want to jump in with one question here. There's a slight delay, so hopefully everyone can hear me okay, because my internet has been complete crap for a while. And no matter what, I call them 10 times, the internet does not get fixed. I just
You
kinda
need to
give up.
you need to get the jockey for the hamster and have him go around that wheel a little faster over there, Alex. I don't think isn't that how your internet's been running over by hamster wheel these days?
Wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. So there's a lot of CPG entrepreneurs, owners, formulators, marketing people that are sitting here, maybe hearing about you for the first time, or they've heard of Cognizant and they want to, dig into it. Why would a brand, like, what's the benefit, and why would a brand want to add this to their formula? What does it translate to as far as helping the brand and helping their sales?
Well, for one thing, nootropics are all the rage. And even if you don't know what they are, you're going to be concerned about your brain health. And we go back to what people believe and what people understand about their brain. It's the epicenter for everything they do, for their memories, for their life experiences. So don't you want to help preserve that, help maintain that, help live a long, healthy life as much as you can, and still retain all of that? What we do know with Cognizant, we've actually been doing research on it for over 20 years now. It's been in the market for over 30. We branded 20 years ago, but it's been on the market much, much longer before that. But brain health is top of mind. Brain energy, focus, attention. Those are all consumer needs that they're constantly talking about. How do I fill this gap? What can I do to do that? And getting a product that has efficacious science, not just one study, not just a pretty logo. And I love the Cognizant logo, but not just a pretty logo, but something that has the science and the trust, the efficacy behind it. And we're not going to be here today and gone tomorrow. We're a company that's been around. Kiowa Hakko itself has been around 40 years, Kirin over 100 years. So we're tried and true. And consumer focus is really of our interest, and also improving and supporting people's lives.
Yeah. And, as kind of from the seat of a founder, right? And it's funny running a brand, Genius Juice, right? Genius. We just use coconut, and that was kind of a soft claim that coconut meat could be good for the brain. There's good fats. We couldn't claim that. So what I'm getting at with this is that your company, Kiowa, and also Cognizant and Amuse, it's science backed, and there's been validation studies and many, many, many tests over many years to validate and back up the claims. And I think that's a really valuable aspect from like the founder standpoint, because we're looking at what do we need to put on the packaging to get people to buy it? And on top of that, what do people need to feel to keep coming back to it? And I think like the fact that you've done the research, it's efficacious, you feel it when you take it, odorless, kind of tasteless, goes right into the formula pretty easily. I think that's a big value for all the founders out there that just want to build their brand and have it be science backed. So that's great. I love that.
It's really nice. It's working for a company that does the values that they have are very similar values to what I have. Integrity is top of mind and very, very important in everything I do, being a dietitian, but also being able to stand behind the products and for so long supporting them. And as they've grown over the years, it's just been really exciting to. Everyone asks, like, what product are you're taking now, or you're consuming now with Cognizant? And it changes from day to day. There can be a coffee product, a energy water, a lollipop, a gummy. There's different products out there. There's different forms, and they're all for different people at different life stages, lifestyles. And I think that's really nice. And giving people that variety is it's even better.
Love it.
Love it.
Okay.
And I was going to say, I did put the links in the chat for Cognizant, for Kiowa, and Amuse as well. So if you're interested in learning more about those outside of what we've been talking about, all those links are in the chat, and check that out, and encourage you to do so.
Awesome. And then we're going to also, just for those that missed it, she is a registered dietitian as well. Like if you look closely, I'm trying to see it here, but it's on next to her name, it says RD. So registered dietitian. So she knows what she's talking about. She's not just, she didn't join the company last week. She's been there for a while. She knows her stuff. So with all that said, there's going to be a prize, right? And this is a big prize, very, very generous, of Kiowa, Amuse, and Cognizant. $150 prize. There's going to be a hoodie, a Find Your Focus hoodie. I want to win that stuff. A branded backpack. She's going to lift it up. I love it. I love it. And also, she's been very humble, but like they work with some of the biggest brands in CPG. I mean, Goalie, they work with, there's Goalie, there's Karma Water, there's Ollie, Olly, that you find all over Target and all over all these stores nationally. They have their lollipops, and they're all powered by either Cognizant or Amuse. So she's been very humble, but there's some really great gummies and other kind of, what do you call them? I guess supplement snacks that give you the nutritional value that are powered by the products that she offers. So big prize. We're going to announce it in a few minutes. And Karen, best way to get in touch with you, is it email? Is it on the website? Is it LinkedIn, or all the above?
All of the above. Try to have multiple touch points. LinkedIn's very easy. You can just tag me or direct message me. The same with the website. You can todd@kiowa-usa.com. Very simple. Or go to any of our websites, and you can reach me pretty quickly, because I'm one of the chat bots that will respond.
Nice.
So we do have multiple touch points. We always want to be top of mind. I know my head pops up and people say, "Hi, Karen." So I do respond. But I think it's great for feedback. We get feedback from consumers all the time, customers all the time that way, and we want to be present and available as readily as possible.
Love it. And it looks like Kenny said accessible supplements is kind of the industry term for it. Kenny just, whenever there's something that we don't know, Kenny knows it, and he just kind of fills in the gaps. That's what I love about Kenny. And if you want to go chat with KI, not AI, right? Go to their website, and she'll be right there to help you out. So Karen, we are so grateful for the partnership. We're looking forward to the next couple episodes that you're going to be sponsoring, and look forward to either having you back on or someone in the company to join us. But you were going to say one more thing.
Just one more thing, and we love the next step. We're going to have Katie Emerson, another registered dietitian, who's going to take a deep dive into the science behind Cognizant, behind Amuse, and then our president, CEO Gerard Adams, will come on and wrap all of this up and give you even more reasons of why we can help support brands and help you grow as well.
Fantastic. Amazing. Thanks so much for your support, Karen. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Karen. And we'll catch you soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Okay. So again, sponsored by Amuse and Cognizant, and Kiowa is the banner company. So I know we're running a little overtime here, but we have our prize. Just want to mention our sponsors one more time, our ongoing sponsors. We have, deep breath, My Way 3PL. And so basically their logistics solutions were born from seeing all the pain points CPG brands go through with other logistics providers, solid foundation of proven results in cost savings and operational enhancement. And for those that are just tuning in, they are our new ongoing sponsor. And we're really happy to find a sponsor that really focuses on not only a big pain point from CPG brands, but logistics and freight, which is a huge pain point for most brands, big or small. And so they're the kind of that niche to help solve that issue with affordable warehousing and shipping and 3PL. And if you go to myway3pl.com, you can find out more information, and the landing page will be up shortly, myway3pl.com/CPG vibes. Our other, and then mention CPG vibes to get a free pallet for your first month of storage. And then Range Me is the smartest way to get your brand in front of thousands of retailers. Experience always on brand exposure. Wade, you're firing on all cylinders today. I love this.
Sure.
And exclusive buyer discovery. It's that Cognizant, baby.
There you go.
Opportunities, access to proprietary insights, research, and resources. 15,000 buyers. That's like, that fills up the crypto.com arena. I mean, right there.
Yeah.
It's like you're going into crypto.com arena and all the buyers are in the seats and you're on the stage in the middle pitching your product, right? That's a good, then you do a concert for them, right? And you sing a song.
Right on.
Yeah. You have to know a Taylor Swift song, right? To perform at crypto.com. So stay, or one of those. So RangeMe ensures continuous exposure to retail buyers from top retailers like Target, Albertsons, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Publix, Kroger, Costco, Wegmans, H-E-B, Food Line, Giant Foods, Fresh Market, and so many more. And they also have ECRM for live in-person events. You can meet directly with national and retail buyers for curated face-to-face meetings. RangeMe.com/CPG Vibes. Save 30% on their premium and pro subscriptions, $9.99 instead of $13.99. And for their pro, it's $16.99 instead of $24.99. That's a drop in the bucket compared to the value that you get. V-Driven's on there. Midday Squares, who came on, they're on there, and they got into Hy-Vee through RangeMe. So that was huge. And many other brands that we've had on here have used RangeMe, gas and stuff, and they've been able to get into retailers through RangeMe. So it's awesome stuff, Wade. It's awesome stuff.
There you go. I had to, before we go there, I had to throw up this comment from Sarah Delaney again with Cirilla. She says after today's show, she's reconsidering Newtopia and checking flights. I don't know, Sarah, maybe we should make a road trip and cross country drive and see the sights on our way out there. We'll see. But Alex, we got a prize.
Now they really need to sponsor an episode.
Right? Exactly. If we get a sign up, they should. But we got a prize to give away, and I don't know if you have a question. I have one. You do?
You have
okay.
one?
No, mine's very easy because we are over time. But if you have one, go for it.
Okay, we'll do mine. If we stump people in 30 seconds, you can ask yours. How many degrees is it where Wade is? The weather.
Nice.
You said it. You said it once.
That one's harder than mine, so we'll see.
And Allison Clay said, "I'm 90% going too."
There you go.
So Kenny's going, Allison's going, Sarah
and
you know what? Considering going. I love
Kidding aside, if you do end up going because you listen to this show, let New Hope know that we gave them some love and that they should throw some back our way, right?
Free flight, free food, free hotel stay, and comp tickets.
Well, Kenny could have been the third on today's show because he's been a big part of the show, contributing. I think the first LinkedIn message I saw this morning was from Kenny, so it's only fitting that we end the show with Kenny winning the prize, and he hit it exactly. So 93 degrees. Kenny's going to get a dope hoodie and some of those products. So fantastic. So Kenny, you know what to do. Email cpgvibes100@gmail.com.
Love it.
Congratulations.
Right. So for our next episode, just to kind of tell you what's down the pike, that's going to be August 9th. It's also going to be sponsored by Kiowa and Cognizant and Amuse. It's going to be me and Wade, just the two of us, for our classic structured show. And then on 8/16 is going to be the Master Series. So 2 weeks from today. And we're going to have Ari Raz, who just welcomed a second child. So congratulations, Ari. He is the CEO of Coconut Colt and co-founder of Once Upon a Farm. Adam Brown, the founder of Circle Media. Czar Danielko, who is him from the Jimbo days. High Touch. And shirtless weightlifting guy that's also a great entrepreneur and has a lot of protein, knows his shit, and just got into Whole Foods nationally. Mark Samuel with I Want Organics. So there you go. It's going to be a packed Master Series show, and that's on 8/16. We want to again thank you to our sponsors, RangeMe and My Way 3PL. Big congratulations to our new sponsor, right? Is My Way 3PL, Barton and Chase. Make sure to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcast. Just go to Apple Podcast, scroll down, hit 5 stars. It takes 30 seconds to do it. And if you'd like to sponsor episodes, cpgvibes100@gmail.com. And Wade, have a wonderful weekend. Everyone, enjoy your weekend as well. And I think that's it, right? We can adjourn.
That's it. See you next week.
Take care, everyone.